he's always in great shape anyway. But I mean, if he held it a few seconds longer, that's okay, right?
Is he going to have a mint julep while he's there?
Dare say. Good morning, and what I would, and I don't even like bourbon, and I don't even like mint, but I would have one only because it is the.
You don't like bourbon, Craig?
No, too much burn for me. I'm a Scotch drinker, you know that.
Yeah,
I'm a Scotch man. And then I know people who would say, to borrow your phrase, neither fish nor fowl. They could do either.
What about cheap bourbon whiskey and pearl snap shirts? Does that do anything for you?
Wow, yeah, sure it does. We welcome you on those wonderful notes to Light the Tower on the Horn, 104.9, 101.9, AM 1260. We're live, local, and digital on the Horn app and at hornfm.com. My name is Craig Way. Glad to have you with us. That other voice, of course, that of my co-host, the pride of Northwest Williamson County, where it was a little bit stormy last night. I sent a radar photo to him showing that it was big thunderstorm clouds over his hometown, where he was a proud graduate of Florence High School, and yet it was moving across toward the other town he mentions more often than any other out of Williamson County is Gerald, Texas. But you know him best for his outstanding
making a beeline.
You know him best for his outstanding work at Horns 24/7. That's Jeff Howe. You doing all right? Did you check with anybody in Florence, make sure they were okay?
No, if my people are in trouble, I usually hear about it.
I got you. Yeah. Okay. Well, that's good.
It's a resilient bunch up there.
That it is.
Speaking of Florence, one of the people I graduated high school with shared a memory, and I don't know how I missed this, but it was from 2019. It was our second grade yearbook, so I got to see my second grade yearbook photo this morning on Facebook. Yeah. Rocking my MC Hammer shirt.
What does 2019 have to do with it?
It was a memory. It was somebody posted it in 2019. It was a memory. It popped up, so they reshared it, and got to see that. I'll let you take a look at that during the break.
Oh, I'd love to see it.
What we got going on with the TV here?
Well, it's draft day.
Got mass confusion going on?
I was flipping it away from the channel where you have very loud, angry people shouting at me from one show to just going to draft coverage there.
Okay.
Because today is draft day. I'm wearing the hoodie of my team, the team that does not own a first-round pick in this year's National Football League draft. That would be the Los Angeles Rams. Ty Henderson, the producer of the morning show, was wearing a T.O. jersey.
Yeah, I need to talk to him about that.
He was going Terrell Owens. T.O. Cowboys. At least it wasn't T.O.'s 49ers or Eagles.
Look, there's just things we'll choose to forget that happened in the history of that franchise, and Terrell Owens being a part of that franchise is one of them.
It's funny you bring that up. And first, we introduce to you our producer, Cameron Parker, and I'm trying to remember your favorite NFL team. Is it the Cowboys?
It is.
Okay, all right. Now you were rocking the Tyler Sagan jersey a couple of days ago, but I don't see a Cowboy jersey on you today.
So I think I had a Roy Williams, the safety jersey that
evil Roy Williams.
Yeah. Yes, who I wore before I knew he was an Oklahoma graduate because I was only 4 or 5 years old. I had a Troy Aikman jersey that I gave to my dad and have not bought a jersey since. I've thought about buying a Zeke jersey. Too late for that. So if Bijan gets drafted by Dallas, maybe I'll do that. But don't have a lot of Cowboy gears.
Those odds are looking quite long right now, sir.
Very long.
You've just given me an idea, and I'm going to go to the I'm going to go to our Specs text line and leave it to our always contributing group of listeners. Do you own a jersey of a player who either no longer is with that team or you don't want to wear it anymore for any number of reasons?
Yeah, I was going to say, does it count if you don't wear them anymore?
Yeah.
Because I've got some jerseys from when I was a kid that I still have that managed to survive my wife throwing away most of my jerseys.
When you say a kid, how kiddish?
I'm talking like grade school.
Okay, that I can give you the pass.
Like I've got a Michael Jordan jersey from grade school.
Yeah.
I've got an Emmitt Smith jersey from grade school.
No, I'm talking about it basically as like a teenager into your adult years.
I've got a couple of those.
Do you?
A couple. I've got a LeBron James from his first tenure with the Cavs.
Okay.
A Michael Jordan Wizards jersey.
Wow.
I think that might be. No, I do have a Texas. When Nike started making the throwback jerseys, I got an Earl Campbell jersey.
I have a Yu Darvish Texas Rangers All-Star jersey.
That's cool.
How about that? Okay. So yeah, that's
I think that's it. Yeah.
That's what I'm looking for.
You know how one reason why I keep that Jordan Wizards jersey.
Yeah.
My favorite memory wearing it, and it kind of sums up Michael Jordan's last 2 years with the Wizards, although his numbers were not that bad if you go and look at them. I wore that on campus at CTC my first semester there when I was going to community college.
When he was going to the branch campus of Texas A&M.
Harvard on the Hill. No, it was not the A&M branch campus yet. Don't you put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby.
He was an Aggie adjunct.
No, I was not Aggie adjacent at that point in my life. Anyway, I'm walking to class, walking through the quad, and a bird took a big crap on my shoulder.
Really?
So I was wearing a T-shirt underneath. I was just like, well, I just ran out and kind of washed that off, took it and left it in the car, and then just went to class with just the plain white undershirt.
Apropos of almost nothing, except it jogged my memory. The other day at UFC Disch-Falk Field, when the Longhorns were wrapping up batting practice, Keith Moreland and Greg Swindell, two absolute Longhorn icons and legends who worked the telecast on LHN, and Roger Wallace and I were hanging around the dugout.
I'm waiting to know which one of y'all got crapped on.
Zeke.
Oh.
And it was a glancing blow, and it didn't hit much, and he's like, and he said, somebody tell him that apparently supposed to be good luck. When that happened, he's like, I don't know what good luck, it just crapped on me. I'm not going to do that. So
I've been crapped on by a bird multiple times.
Okay.
Whereas, like, my wife is like, I've never, and a bunch of my friends are like, I've never been crapped on. Well, it's happened to me multiple times.
Multiple times.
I don't know, just bad timing, I guess.
So there's the question for you: if you've got a jersey that you don't wear it anymore. Here's somebody who said, "Oh, I love this." Jeff Mudd says, it's a little snug since I got it in 1980 when I was 12 years old, but I still have my signed Brian Sipe jersey.
That's badass.
Brian Sipe, who, and I know
88.
I know Jeff Mudd will remember this. 1980, the season he remembers, the Cleveland Browns had an outstanding year. They'd overcome the Steelers and seemed prime to get to their first Super Bowl. They were at home in a divisional playoff game and would have been in prime position to meet the San Diego Chargers in the AFC Championship. And they're down 14-12 to the Raiders in the waning moments of the game. And they're playing at the Mistake by the Lake on a frozen field in Cleveland, and he's driving them toward the end zone when all they need to do is set it up right in the middle of the field for a Don Cockroft field goal to end it. And he throws an interception in the end zone. Mike Davis of the Raiders.
Red Right 88. That was the play call.
Yeah. And they pick it off. Raiders then go on as the wild card to win in San Diego to beat the Chargers. Then they go on to Super Bowl 15 and they beat the Raiders. First wild card team to win a Super Bowl. The Super Bowl that I've worked selling shirts at Super Bowl 15. But I'm sure he'll unfondly remember that. So that's kind of what we're looking for. Do you have a jersey? CB says I only own 2 jerseys ever. In 2021, my sister got me a black Texas Vince Young jersey and the jersey Chris Boyd sent me in December. Very nice. A Chris Boyd Vikings jersey there. Yeah.
I've got several autographed jerseys that I need to get framed and up on the wall in my office.
Yeah,
that's one of my off-season projects.
The Burn Orange Yeti says, "Don't buy draft day jerseys." I bought a Ahmad Carroll cornerback for the Packers. He was gone after 2 seasons.
Former Razorback.
Stripped the name page off and had a shop put one of my nicknames on that. See, now there's good repurposing of a jersey. Buhika says, "I've got a used Aaron Rodgers jersey for sale." That's kind of what I'm talking about because I have a Kurt Warner Rams jersey, and it wasn't one of the replica things that you might get at one of the big box stores or even a replica. It was a full-on type with the stitching sewn in $300-something. It was right after they won the Super Bowl.
One of my favorite jerseys from when I was a kid was stolen from me. I remember that in the 3rd grade. My Shaquille O'Neal Orlando Magic jersey was stolen from me. Yeah, it had the black with the pinstripes. Yeah.
So the Kurt Warner jersey. I think I've only bought 2 jerseys in my life. That was one of them. And another one was when I was in college, I got a Texas Rangers road jersey, the powder blue with Texas.
Yeah.
With the lowercase letter. There's a block print capital T, but the lowercase EXAS on the front.
See, yesterday, Cameron wore, we got multiple texts that are like, grown men shouldn't wear jerseys. I get that, and I've talked about this before. Cameron yesterday, though, was it yesterday you wore the Tyler Sagan hockey sweater, or the day before.
Day before yesterday.
That is the socially acceptable jersey, I think, to wear. If you wear the hockey sweater, regardless of whether it's just plain or it's got a name on it or whatever, you can get away with wearing the hockey sweater.
Yeah, don't do what I did back in 1980 and get that Texas Rangers jersey. And I got it from Brad Sham's Big League Threads even before I ever met Brad Sham, let alone work for him, have him be my boss for 7 years.
Brad Sham had a store?
His name was on the store.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
It was an apparel store called Brad Sham's Big League Threads. It was pretty successful for a while. And in fact, when I was working at the Super Bowl 15, my buddy Alex and I did it. We got to know the guy who ran the store there, and he outfitted us with some Eagles and Raiders gear, jerseys and shirts to sell down there along with the other stuff we were selling, and sold out of it, especially the Eagles stuff. The Eagles fans bought up everything. But I didn't even know Brad. Had not even met Brad back then. I was in college. But what I did was when I bought that jersey, the Ranger jersey, and it was kind of, I don't know if it was cool to do it, but it was certainly acceptable to do it back in the day. I picked a number that a player did not have, and I put my name on the back.
Yeah, see, that's one I have a problem with.
Me too. Yeah. Now, back then, it was like,
you didn't know any better.
I put it on there, and I never did that again. So
anybody else pull the bit I did where you try to go to the NFL shop when that news happened and try to get an Atlanta Falcons Ron Mexico
try to
jersey?
Get that Ron Mexico. I'm sure many did. I'm sure
Cameron, I've caught you up on the Ron Mexico stuff, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So that's my question. Here on draft day, do you own, doesn't have to be an NFL jersey, just a jersey. And somebody says, I have a superstition with jerseys. If you buy one with a name on it, they always seem to get traded or leave for some reason. Well, it happened. It happened to Kurt Warner. I got some pretty good use out of that jersey because I got it right after they won Super Bowl 34 when they just switched colors to the metallic gold. Ugh.
Somebody said they're shocked I'm not wearing my Kevin Garnett jersey today.
There you go. Go back and listen to the podcast earlier in the week.
I don't think I ever owned a Kevin Garnett jersey. That's one of those deals.
Do you really have to think about that?
Yeah, well, because there were times where, especially me and my buddy Sam Hobbs did this. Like we would get jerseys and you'd swap, right?
Yeah, right.
Like, ooh, like hey, let me borrow your Charles Woodson.
Right.
Like, well, let me borrow your, Eddie George or whatever.
So yeah, there's that. I had a Warner jersey and I got 2 good years out of it before he ultimately left the Rams and went to the Giants and then to the Cardinals and all that sort of stuff. And it's hanging in my closet. I'll tell you what I did have, and I bought it. I bought this from Brad Sham's Big League. I have a Lakers satin starter jacket from the Showtime Lakers.
The satin, wow.
The bright gold satin. I have one of those from I think it's 1981. I still have that hanging in the closet.
My little brother was big on the warm ups, like the basketball warm ups.
Yeah.
And that was his Christmas present one year. He got like the North Carolina, like the long sleeve snap shirt with the snap pants.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was big into that.
So we've got that open to you on the Specs text line at 337-3776. Somebody asked me.
Man, this text I just saw better not be legit.
About Jerry Springer?
I'm going. Yeah. Did he pass away?
He's passed away.
Oh no!
It's not breaking news, despite what the texter said. It's shuffled off this mortal coil. Yeah, he has. He's passed away. Somebody asked me.
That happened on my drive-in. Dang it, man. That's sad.
Yeah, it did. Someone asked, how is Brad Sham doing? He's fine. In fact, I was just texting with him and Chuck Cooperstein, and the other guy I worked with, Brian Briscoe. We have this little group text, and every now and then there's something from our days of working together in the late 80s to early 90s that comes up, and on draft day, it's our tradition every year, and I'm going to tell that story again coming up. I'll tell the story, the draft day story from the 1986 NFL draft. I'll tell that story coming up. But he's doing quite well. Thank you very much. So
speaking of jerseys, Bijan's getting one tonight with the number 1 on it from some lucky franchise.
Yeah, there'll be a number 1. Here's a good tip from Juan, who says, my trick to make sure this never happens is I don't buy a jersey from a player on my team until they sign their second contract. I'm a Saints fan, so I have to be cautious when I do buy one. That's a good point.
The only other jersey, and Craig, you've got one, and yours is acceptable. Like Cam with the hockey sweater, like you can get it. It can be a Tyler Sagan sweater or a Plain Star sweater. Doesn't matter. I think that works. But you got the Dodgers jersey just with the Dodgers script across the front, nothing on the back.
All it says is I have a true actual road jersey that's gray, and it just says Los Angeles.
Yeah. No
number, no player.
That's it.
That's just to show support for the team. I also have a batting practice jersey, one of the blue ones that they have that I wear occasionally.
I think you had a white one.
I don't.
You don't?
I do not have a white Dodger.
That was somebody put one of those on the other place when we had the big Craig Way cutout. Somebody put a white Dodgers jersey.
It was a Jackie Robinson jersey, which our good friend who's no longer with us, Ron, the Vietnam vet. We used to say he was one of our best callers of all time because he was the best combination of Vietnam War vet and postal worker. But he was great. He would call the show and go, "Hey guys," and Schoening and I would always go, "Hey, Ron," and then we would talk. He's a great dude, great guy, and he gave it to me. He gave me a Jackie Robinson jersey, and that's what they put on the cutout for a while.
You can do the button down or just the batting practice jersey.
Right.
Either one works.
I have my batting practice jersey is a button down.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah.
Either one works.
Yeah.
Like just no name, no number. Nothing,
I have no name, no number on those, and I wear those proudly when I do decide to wear a jersey. I don't wear jerseys often, but when I do, those are the two.
There's something about that to me is just kind of classy about that when you have a big major league free agent signing, and he'll do the press conference, and then right at the end he'll put the new hat on, take the coat off, and he's just got the shirt and tie, and then throws the baseball jersey over it. There's something classy about that to me.
Jeff, is the Texas baseball jerseys that were just released last year that you can wear with no numbers on the back, are those socially acceptable to wear?
Yeah, baseball's fine. Yeah,
the one that Bob Cole talks about that he got at Sue Patrick. Oh, so good. It's got it's not the screened on stuff. It's got the sewn in letters. It's got made with that dry fit poly whatever it is stuff. It's great. Yeah, that's the ones you're talking about. Yeah. That's it.
We need to have that Bob Cole getting tased sound. We need to have that at the ready.
Yeah. So, but Bob is right. Bob, I good naturedly make fun of Bob on that deal, but he is right. It's a great jersey available at Sue Patrick.
No, baseball's fine. So you can't do that with football or basketball.
Yes. There's Bob. There's Bob. Thank you, Bob.
I like how you hear the taser go off too. Hit it again, Cam.
Yeah,
hit it again.
You're just like Rob Riggle in The Hangover, where they get such a kick out of tasing Zach Galifianakis
in the face.
You're right. But it is. That's a good jersey. That is a good jersey. Anyway, so I said, you gotta love this. I have a Tweeter Varsity Blues jersey. At 43 years old, I still wear it from time to time.
That is awesome.
Yeah. So I said, it is breaking news within the last hour, right? Maybe I'm late. Saw it on TMZ. They broke it. I heard it a couple hours ago, but that's why I said, nah. But it is. I mean, it's still within the news cycle. So Jerry Springer no longer with us. Here's somebody said, oh, see, now this is the cool jacket, the old school Cowboys jacket, and my best friend, Alex, who is a lifelong Cowboy fan, grew up in Irving, has one just like that. It's got Dallas in the block print capital lettering and Cowboys in script underneath. They used to wear those jerseys on the sideline. That's a good one.
I love this text. My buddy had a Ray Caruth jersey from the Panthers. Needless to say, he quit wearing that, but it's still hanging in his closet.
My dad has one of the old starter Chicago Bulls windbreaker jackets, one of the puff jackets. Yeah, mine was kind of the puff jacket. The Lakers Showtime one.
There it is. There's a Ron Mexico jersey.
Yeah. And Joe number 2 says he's quoting Bob Cole again. The jersey, that Nike swoosh on it. Yes.
It's got on that swoosh.
It has the swoosh on it. Yeah. So, yeah, that's it. So I can fill in for him on the next commercial. In 33 states, it's unlawful for a grown man to wear a jersey without also wearing Crocs. That's a good point. I work with Rob at the post office off Manchac, or someone call it Manchaca, the original heritage name. He sounds like a surfer guy, tall guy with long hair. It's cool. Okay. Yeah. There you go. So Anyway, Houston Gamblers jersey with Jim Kelly. There's one of those. And so do you ever think that Jerry Jones, says Victor, will do any last-minute shenanigans to trade up? We're going to talk a little bit about the draft. Certainly it is draft day. And Bebop says, I got one of the authentic Zeke jerseys after his rookie season. Got some good years of use out of it. Even when his production went down, he still got the short yardage TDs and proved to be a good mascot, if nothing else. Yeah, that's true. I'm thinking my sons have had the whole jersey phase. Andy had a Charles Barkley Rockets jersey when he was real little. So the one with the pinstripes.
Mm-hmm. I had a Steve Francis one like that.
There you go. Stevie Francis. How about that? Andy, because he worked at an apparel store in Lakeline Mall as a teenager and all that, he has a Washington Nationals jersey when they first moved from Montreal, a road jersey in Washington. He is a Tigers home jersey because he was a big Tigers fan. He's now more a Royals fan since he worked for the organization. Mm-hmm. Now this falls in that category. He has a Mike Moustakas Royals jersey.
Yes, he can't wear that.
Moose is on his second team since then. He was wasn't he with the Padres, and now is it with the Cubs that Moose is with now? I'll double check.
I don't know.
Anyway. So,
I'm not a P1 of Mike Moustakas.
Okay. So. All right. So he had that.
His whereabouts.
Jason Way, smart young man that he is, his team is the Red Sox, but he has the Red Sox jersey with no name and no number on it, the home jersey. I told him he should get one that's in Boston, like the one that Poppy was wearing on the Boston Marathon thing. This is our bleeping city. That one. You should wear.
Gotta have jorts when wearing a jersey. It's not a bad combo.
That's a pretty good combo there. So yeah. So and somebody said I bought a Hopkins and a Watt jerseys, and then boom, traded.
I think my favorite one I had several favorite ones. I had a Javon Curse Titans, but it was a red jersey. I like the dark blue shoulders, but the chest was red.
Yeah,
I like that Javon Curse jersey.
Yeah.
Jamal Anderson, I had a Jamal Anderson jersey. Keyshawn Johnson Bucks jersey.
You said you had an Orlando Magic jersey?
Mm-hmm.
Shaq? Somebody said Orlando Magic jerseys were badass. Mine was also stolen third grade from a pool by a guy who could definitely not fit in it.
Yeah, man.
There's somebody with a Yao Ming jersey. That's what we're talking about. So anyway, yeah, let us know the jerseys that you had that really kind of no longer apply.
Jeff Mudd says Moose is with the Rockies now.
There it is. Yeah.
You know what? I need to text one of my buddies who's a big Royals fan. I want to say there's a Tommy Lasorda Mike Moustakas story that's really funny. Yeah.
Man.
Let me see if I can track that down during the break.
Ships passing in the night. I mean, that's late in life for Tommy, let alone, beyond his managing days. But I'd be interested to hear that. All right. Coming up, we'll have our Longhorn Notebook. We're going to hear from Sark. Thank you. Big shout out to Cam for this. Cameron Parker, very big part of today's presentation. Yeah, cutting this audio. Yeah, absolutely. So we're gonna hear from Sark from that deal he did yesterday, Houston Touchdown Club thing. There, we'll talk plenty of draft too. By the way, so the audio we'll hear is going to be the press conference before he addressed the crowd there. Exactly. At the Bayou City Event Center in Houston. So we'll have that coming up. We do have Inconceivable. And I'll tell that Brad Sham draft story again because it's worth telling every year. I may have a I may have that Mike Moustakas Tommy Lasorda story if I can get it run down. All right. We'll continue with Light the Tower on the Horn, 104.9, 101.9 AM 1260. We're live, local, and digital on the Horn app and at hornfm.com. So if you are planning to watch the NFL draft tonight or NBA playoffs or NHL playoffs, that sort of thing, or, like I said, Major League Baseball, whatever it might be, are you comfortable? Are you happy with your home entertainment viewing experience. If not, and it goes beyond viewing, if you wanting to hear the music better in your place instead of coming out of one little speaker and all that, well, that's where our friend Tom McKay and Audiovisual Consultations can really make a difference for you. They have the equipment, the knowledge, the expertise. They'll work with you. If you got a vision for how you want your home entertainment center, your room set up, your man cave, den, family room, outside patio, bedroom, whatever it is, Tom and his staff have done it. They've been there. They've outfitted. A lot of folks are probably going to be over at Pluckers watching the draft coverage where we've got guys out at 7 different Pluckers locations. He's outfitted Pluckers the way they've done and designed their big screens and their televisions as well, and he can make it just as entertaining for you. Check him out on the web at avconsultations.com. Then give Tom and his staff a call, 512-255-8678. Let Tom McKay and Audiovisual Consultations help you realize the home entertainment system of your dreams. One of my favorite, I don't think it's my all-time favorite, but it's one of my favorite NFL films, music, composition from the great Sam Spence. It's called The Pony Soldiers. You can just see teams starting a drive on their own 11-yard line. 49ers Bengals, Super Bowl 23, and driving 89 yards. And they start off by getting a couple of runs, and then they start mixing it with some screen passes and moving it down the field. And you see the official go, first down. Then they might get pushed back because of a loss or a sack. And they come back with a screen pass to the left side. It picks up 8 yards. Now on 3rd down and 9, back to throw. Looking, scrambling. And then Super Bowl 23 rolled back around and found a wide open target across the middle. Boom. So, yeah, today is such a day for those things with the National Football League draft. And our question to you was, do you own a jersey? Doesn't have to be an NFL jersey, but a jersey.
Because there'll be jerseys handed out tonight with those big number ones.
Absolutely. They all have the number ones, and the hug will come from the commissioner, Roger Goodell. Although I do like the thought that Bijan Robinson might have the idea handed him by Dan Patrick, who said, why don't you just, instead of hugging him, why don't you hand him a jar of Bijan Mustardson? And he said, and he started laughing, and Bijan said, that's not a bad idea. He said, don't be surprised if that happens or something.
Bijan's gotten a lot of mileage out of that mustard bit.
Yeah. And there he was at Cane's.
Good for him.
In Kansas City working the drive-thru yesterday. That was pretty cool as well. So we said, but, what jersey do you own or had owned from, a player that, it doesn't really make much sense to wear it now, meaning they left through free agency or got cut or just traded or whatever, as opposed to somebody said they had a Roger Staubach jersey. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Roger, arguably, depending on who you're arguing with or discussing, the greatest Dallas Cowboy of all time. Certainly one of the greatest of all time. Came in as a Cowboy, retired as a Cowboy.
Emmitt Smith?
Well, Emmitt Smith was an Arizona Cardinal.
I love Emmitt, but I kid. I've already said it's Roger Staubach or Bob Lilly who's the greatest Cowboy ever.
If you got a chance to get an Emmitt Smith Arizona Cardinals jersey.
Hell no.
Or a Tony Dorsett
God, no.
Denver Broncos jersey. Or a Franco Harris Seattle Seahawks jersey. Or a Johnny Unitas San Diego Chargers
Rice
jersey.
Broncos jersey.
Yeah.
Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
No. God, no.
Not happening? Okay. All right.
Or a Terrell Owens Cowboys jersey. Which is kind of what started this whole deal.
Yeah, it does, because Ty Anderson, the morning brew, said somebody said I have a VY number 10 Titans jersey. It's collecting dust. Understand that. 2 Eric Metcalf
Send it
Browns
to Jeff
jerseys.
Fisher. As a matter of fact, Longhorn fans, take your VY Titans jerseys, coordinate it, so we're like Jeff Fisher gets a couple of those deliveries every week.
Yeah.
I just want to see Jeff Fisher's face when he opens the mail and it's a VY jersey.
Here's somebody said, I still have a Derek Jeter pinstripe Yankee jersey that my ex-girlfriend bought me that I can't wear because my wife knows where I got it from. It just stays in the closet.
Cameron, did you ever see that episode of South Park where Mr. Mackey's reading the suggestion box and it's all the same insult that he's reading off?
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of how I picture the scenario where Jeff Fisher gets the VY jersey package.
Just like Ted Lasso, the first, second episode where he opens the suggestion box from the teammates and it's just all,
Quit, resign.
Well, I don't know if I can say it on the air because I don't know if it's a cuss word or not, but it starts with a W. You know what it means. Yeah.
One of those bitch, yeah. So Texas fans coordinate and give Jeff Fisher something to look forward to when he opens his mail.
Yeah.
2 to 3 times a week.
So I said, Des Bryant, Zeke Elliott, still in the closet. Don't wear them often. And again, here's the old thing. Grown men shouldn't wear football jerseys. It depends on the jersey. If you're supporting the team, I get it, or a Hall of Fame player, I think we're in agreement on this.
Golf lingo, Austin Ice Bats is my latest jersey purchase.
See, now there you go. Austin Ice Bats. That's
the last time the Ice Bats were around. It's been a minute.
Oh, yeah. It was long before, before the Texas Stars came into being.
I mean, probably what, Craig, like 15 years ago, something like that.
Yeah. Purple Buffalo's daddy says men should never wear jerseys, visor, or Crocs in public.
Men should also not procreate with animals either, or attempt to, but that doesn't seem to really pass muster in Gerald. They just do what they want.
Now, come on, Purple Buffalo's daddy. You would wear a Gerald Cougars jersey if given.
I wish I had 2 Gerald Cougars jerseys.
Don't even tell me what you do with them, because I know what you would say with one of them. It has to do with wiping. I know, so don't even say.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't.
No.
Just wish I had one to go to the bathroom on and then another one to cover it up with.
See? I told you. All right. My first jersey, somebody says, a 1989 Gino Torretta Miami Hurricanes jersey. That kind of stuff. Still on my Team USA David Robinson jersey from 96. Had it since 5th grade. Nothing wrong with that one. That's for sure. I wanted a Vince Young Green Bay Packer jersey, but he didn't stay long enough. That's true. He was there. Yeah.
VY got a cup of coffee in Green Bay. Hey, by the way, Craig, do you take comfort in the fact that Mac Brown might actually be listening to the show since he's a
little busy right now.
A part of our programming today.
He was on with Bucky and Aaron. You can go to the podcast page to listen. It was a good conversation with Mac.
I didn't say that in jest yesterday. I figured Mac, if he's in town, he might be listening.
Well, they got the golf tournament going on now.
He might have it on. We don't know that.
Okay.
We don't know that he doesn't.
Now here's somebody says if they get traded, I need to buy a Dak jersey. Here's somebody wanting to know where they can get a Gerald football jersey. My 2 jerseys lasted for years. Didn't end well.
Find the closest landfill in Gerald and just start digging. It's probably where it should be.
How about a Quentin Jammer blue San Diego Chargers jersey?
That's awesome.
Yeah, an Earl Campbell Love You Blue jersey, a VY Titans throwback Oilers, Dorsett, Emmett, Zeke, blue and gold Astros Jeff Bagwell jersey. See, and again, if it's guys who made the balance of their career at that one place for several years, it makes sense. Somebody wondering, what about Jeff's Tim Duncan jersey? Game worn. Right?
Again, wish I had 2 of them.
Yeah. Somebody said, Craig, prepare yourself for a rough Rams season upcoming. Tell the Rams thanks for giving us back Bobby Wagner and helping us get better. I prepare for a rough Rams season every year. Even the years where they're going to be good, I prepare for the rough ending. That's what makes the very odd, outlying year of winning the Super Bowl all the more enjoyable because of not expecting that sort of thing. Somebody say, hey, Jeff, MJ from Hearn, the Cards are headed your way.
Yeah, he's sending some packs of 1990 tops. Maybe I'll find one of those Frank Thomas no name on front cards.
Okay. Someone else.
Most likely not. But.
With a Jason Witten jersey, only wearing on game days. And if I go see the Cowboys and have a signed Arian Foster Texans jersey, it turned out to be a replica. Cool shirt, just hangs in the closet. Did you wear the Jason Witten jersey when he was doing Monday Night Football? That was.
Somebody said they can start calling me Uncle Rico since I'm stuck in high school. Can I not do? I guess that texter doesn't appreciate radio bit.
Yeah,
maybe.
Here's somebody who says I only get jerseys from retired players.
Can't please everybody.
Emmett Smith, Bill Bates of the Cowboys, Jose Cruz of the Astros, and Mark Messier of the Rangers. See, that's good. So there you go. All right, we'll get to some more of
Sark audio time.
It is Sark audio time because it's time for our Longhorn Notebook.
Jeff Howe's Longhorn Notebook.
You know what, Craig? I'm gonna yield the floor to Cam. Cam, you cut this audio. We'll go producer's choice for whatever cut. Now, again, this is Sark yesterday. He had a press conference before the Touchdown Club of Houston luncheon. That's a Mattress Mac deal. Every spring, they'll bring in the Texas head coach. He'll speak for, 30 minutes to an hour, just running, he'll run down his post-spring thoughts and then take some questions from the crowd. But this was the press conference beforehand. So, again, Cam, you cut this audio. Producer's choice. What are we going to hear first?
Yeah, so we're in post-spring ball time, which is usually the time where there's nothing to talk about except for storylines, right? You build your narrative and you start drinking a little bit of Kool-Aid, right? And I think we can all say as a fan base and as, working in the team and reporting that there's going to be a lot of Kool-Aid, I think, this season after a pretty successful spring, I think, for Texas football, right?
Yeah.
Didn't lose a lot of transfers, so Coach Stark was
Knock
asked.
on wood.
Yeah. Coach Stark was asked about how will he handle the preseason hype this season heading into his third season at Texas?
Well, I think you're spot on. I think that, managing / handling expectations, and then ultimately managing and handling success, right, is kind of the next step in the formula that we've been on here in going into year 3. It's one thing for people outside the program to think you're going to be pretty good. It's another when you feel it internally. And I think coaching staff-wise, player-wise, I think we feel very confident about the team that we have. I think we've put in a lot of work. I think we've built a roster. I think we've got staff continuity. I think we've got a lot of the things in place to go have a good season. Ultimately, now we have to go do it. And the thing about football that's always unique is it's not always who's the best team. It's who's the best team that day. And I think that's the goal for us as we start moving towards the season and we've got 12 regular season games. We're trying to be the best team 12 Saturdays throughout the fall to ultimately see what the season can be. But, expectations are what they are. Reality is what it is too. And we've got to make these expectations become a reality. And so we got to be intentional in our approach as we get prepared for the season.
It's interesting when we talk about expectations with Texas because, Texas is going to be ranked somewhere in the preseason AP top 25 and people are like, oh, everybody's buying into Texas and you're buying into the hype. But if you look at it, Craig, when you look at like preseason AP polls, it's not like Texas has been ranked in the top 5 in the preseason every year and then just tanks. I would expect them to be ranked kind of in that 9 to 12 range in the preseason, somewhere like that. When you look at even though, they're going to lose Bijan or Roschon and there's pieces to replace, with the growth potential on offense and as much as you bring back on defense, and if you consider Texas the preseason favorite in the Big 12, that's interesting to see I want to see what my media colleagues are going to think about the Big 12 because TCU, obviously they weren't the league champion, but they went through the regular season in the league undefeated. They're losing a lot. K-State's got to adjust to life without Deuce Robinson, and they lose Felix Anduke-Uzomah. So they've maybe got to reload in some spots. So I think maybe TCU, definitely takes a step back. Maybe K-State takes a step back. I think everybody's thinking Texas and Oklahoma will take steps forward. So I don't really know what that Big 12 pecking order looks like. But if the folks who vote in such polls or put such polls together believe Texas is the preseason favorite in the Big 12, then yeah, they'd be in that 9-12 range, I think, in a preseason poll.
Yeah, it's, and I know it's a popular theme. Folks will say, there it is, Texas being overrated at the start of the year, and they fall back. But I get what you're saying, and I agree about the fact they're not rated as highly as a lot of people think they are going into the deal. I think
the problem, and I've talked about this a little bit in the past, I think the problem is, and I've said maybe sometimes it's with the fan base that doesn't know how to handle it, but I think it's the national media too. Like, go back to 2016. I think whenever Texas shows legitimate signs of life, I don't think the national media or people that vote on such polls, I don't think they know how to handle it.
Right.
Because Texas comes out that season opener and beats Notre Dame, a Notre Dame team that at the end of the day we found out wasn't very good, and neither was Texas that year. And they go from, I think, maybe receiving votes in the AP poll to they're a top 10 team 8 days later.
Right.
So that's something that I struggle with. It's like, okay, everybody whines and complains that Texas is overrated, yet the people that are in charge of rating or underrating or overrating teams continually, once Texas shows the slightest bit of upward trend, it's like everybody's on the bandwagon. So I don't know. It's just, to me, the whole deal is just off kilter. But I think if you're a Texas fan, I think you'd rather have legitimate expectations of, hey, maybe you can go win a conference championship this year, rather than, all right, hoping and praying and crossing fingers that, hey, can we be in that discussion in November? I think you'd much rather have legitimate big-time expectations. That's the way it should be around here.
Yeah, no, I
compete for a championship every year. Cam, what do we got next?
So, of course, tonight is the NFL draft, and Sark's expecting, 5 Longhorns to be drafted this week, and one in the first round who will be the first offensive player drafted from the University of Texas since 2006. That's Bijan Robinson. Sark was asked about how he handles the draft process and what NFL teams are kind of looking for when it comes to Bijan, Roshan, Morrow, Demo, and everyone else.
Well, I think one thing from an NFL perspective, they have all of the resources and they can watch all of the tape. They do all of the interviews, right, at the combine or when they come to your school. They have all the metrics on 40 times and broad jump and all those things that they have all of that. I think what they're digging into from us is who is he on a daily basis, right? What is he like when adversity strikes? Because those are some of the things that they're not as tangible for them in an interview process or a workout process. And I think that's one of the things for me that I light up about, because Bijan, in my opinion, has never had a bad day. I mean, that guy shows up every morning with the intent to be the best teammate he can be, to look at everything with the glass half full and how's he going to get better, even at some of the most adverse times. And whether it's going through injury, whether it's through a tough fumble at the end of the Tech game, things that have come up in his career that haven't always been, but a lot of guys could have viewed that and been down about it. And he's always been positive. And like I tell every organization, he's going to make your locker room better. He's going to make your organization better. He's going to make your community better. Not to mention all the football stuff that goes along with it. So somebody's going to get a special player. We don't know when. We don't know who. That's one of the beauties of the draft, and that's why we all tune in to watch it.
It's not a lot different than what Sark and other college coaches will do in recruiting, right? And you don't see this as much because college coaches are more restricted now. It should be the other way, but they're more restricted now, the time they can spend on the road. But when you get on the road, the high school coach and maybe the position coach and people in the athletic program, they'll talk up a kid if you're recruiting them. But if I'm a coach, I want to go meet with the student trainers, and I want to go meet with the janitorial staff that cleans the locker room and the cafeteria workers or the SRO, people that this kid would not have a reason to be nice to. I want to find out from them what kind of kid he is. And if they're like, oh yeah, salt of the earth kid, great kid, never a problem, good dude, then at that point, that's kind of what Sark's talking about with that background research. And the NFL teams are going to go to them and they want to be, how is this kid with his tutors? How is he, walking around on campus? Is he a kid that likes to party a lot? Whatever. Those are questions that are going to be asked. I've always, I'm always fascinated to ask guys about the combine process and the interview process. Like in the one that I go back to when Jordan Hicks got drafted,
right?
You go back to his deal when he got sent home from the Alamo Bowl, and I talked to him at his combine, his pro day, and he said, he's like, there were a lot of questions teams had for me. And he's like, honestly, there were some pretty tough and difficult questions that I had to answer. But Jordan Hicks still in the league and answered those questions the right way, and I think he's proven himself that he's moved past that one incident. Cam, we got time for maybe one more. Go ahead and pick another. I like giving Cam the keys.
It's
here.
almost kind of like we're spinning the wheel on this deal. It's like, and we're landing on.
Well, you want me guys to give you two options, or you want me to just go ahead and pick one?
You pick one. It's producer's choice. It's your show, Cam.
I'm
right
honored.
now.
So he was asked yesterday about where he thought the quarterbacks were after spring ball, and what were the summer goals for both Malik Murphy, or actually for Malik Murphy, Quinn Ewers, and Arch Manning, all three.
Yeah, I think they were all at varying stages, which a lot of you guys know who are around us that cover us. They're all in varying stages, and they all had different things that they were focusing on. Obviously, Quinn had a lot more experience than the other two guys, having played, and how far could he take this from a comfort level standpoint? Could he really dig into the nuances of the scheme? Could he really step up and become the leader that we're looking for at that position? And I think Quinn did that. He had a great winter conditioning. I think he really kind of put himself in position for a good spring. I thought he played really well in the spring. Not 15 perfect days, but I think there was a lot of room for improvement there, and then he did improve in those things, and I thought those things showed up. We got a snapshot of a couple of those things in the spring game. I thought the deep ball between he and Xavier was a great sign for everybody, and so I think that was really good. For Malik, it was just getting him playing. This guy had been fighting injuries throughout his first year here. And so to him to find some consistency kind of those last 3 weeks of spring ball and ultimately go out and play, I think was good for him. And then Arch just getting 2 feet on the ground in Austin, Texas, right? Getting acclimated to being in college. Here's college offense. Here's the speed of the game. How do you get acclimated to it? I thought all the guys did a really good job. Now in summer, who can now build on the things from what they did in spring ball? Here's poignant things to attack, to get better at. But ultimately, summer to me is about building your team and about building your culture. And the quarterbacks play a huge part in that because they're the guys that kind of connect the offense and the defense. They're the guys that go out for the player-led throwing sessions. They're the guys that go do that thing. And so you have to have that sense of leadership, but you also have to have a sense of camaraderie in the room. And I think something when you hear Quinn talk or you hear Malik talk, they talk about how strong the quarterback room is. I think those guys are all pulling for one another. That lends itself to, I don't have one throwing session at 2 o'clock, another one at 8 a.m., another one on Saturday. I think our guys are going to be collectively together. That's going to bring our team together, and we're going to be more of a tight-knit football team.
I like the makeup of that room, guys. I mean, Malik Murphy, now that he's healthy, I think people are getting to see the kind of competitor he is. We know the strides Quinn has made, and I think Arch's pedigree and how he's prepared for just the day-to-day work, I think, speaks for itself. And again, in the transfer portal era, this is about as good of a situation in the quarterback room as you can hope to have. You got a veteran, you've got a young guy who's been in the program for a year that's probably going to be your backup, and then you've got a guy enrolling this spring that, as I say, Lord willing, the creek don't rise, he can just redshirt, kind of hang back and get a view of it, and then maybe next spring he's ready to go compete for something.
Okay, so when you say you like the makeup of that room, you're talking about the room at the press conference there where somebody's phone was going off?
Yeah,
Cam was asking if that was your phone. You weren't in.
I wasn't even there. Yeah, and so can't be having that happen.
Could have been your colleague Chip Brown. Would it have been?
No,
his phone
Chip knows
going?
better.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, I showed Chip because his phone when we first started working together, his phone went off. I'm like, dude, you just put your phone in airplane mode and it'll record. He's like, oh really? I'm like, yeah. Why haven't y'all figured that out yet?
I think it was Sark actually knocked someone's phone or tape recorder off the
deal.
Yeah,
and it went off there. You know who told me about airplane mode? Shaka.
Did he really?
We're in Stillwater, and I'm getting ready to record. It wasn't a pregame interview. It was just an interview night before a game. We were doing practice, and thing was going off. I'm sorry. And he goes, you can put that thing in airplane mode. It won't happen. I was like, what? Yeah, just put it in air. And it didn't. Boom.
Yeah. I learned you needed to do something because, again, he's probably not listening right now. We don't know that he's not. Mac Brown, if your phone went off during a press conference, Mac had a habit of every now and then answering your phone.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, absolutely, sure did.
So don't need to get embarrassed on TV, especially with LHN. The stuff is broadcast now. I don't need to be getting embarrassed.
Yeah,
but Cam, that was a great job cutting that audio. Sounded good, and we'll hear more from Sark
We will.
throughout the show today.
We continue to ask you, what jerseys do you have? They're kind of obsolete. Daryl says, do T-shirts count? No, Daryl, they don't count. We all have tons of T-shirts. Have several Terry Labonte shirts, including his 1996 Winston Cup Championship shirt.
Nice.
He won the driving championship and Indy 500 event shirt every year since 1989. T-shirts do not count.
Cam, did you ever own a NASCAR, like a racing jacket? Like the
See, now
team
that
jacket?
would count, Daryl. You got a racing jacket from Labonte? You have one of those, one of the whole driver's suit? Because I know you know, Daryl. I know this because I was a season ticket holder at Texas Motor Speedway for 4 years, and all the merchandise trailers are down there, so you can buy the jacket. You can buy the full warm-up.
Those look like they'd be comfortable in the winter.
The driver's suit. Yeah, you can pull
insulated, keep you warm.
2 notes on Terry Labonte. I believe he's the only NASCAR driver that won a championship without winning a race in a season.
Yeah,
and I do have a Jeff Gordon DuPont racing jacket.
There
It
you
wasn't the Rainbow Warrior. It was when he went to the new look, which I like a lot better.
That's what I'm talking about.
There you go. Okay, so there's your avenue there, Daryl. Do you have a racing jacket or a driver suit type thing?
We need a Hooters one for Jeff. The Chase Elliott Hooters.
I'll say the Alan Klewicki jacket.
The
Because Alan Klewicki used to drive the Hooters car.
Yeah, the late Alan Kowicki.
Michael Waltrip, he drove.
Michael Waltrip.
He had the Texas Longhorns 2005 National Championship paint scheme
He did.
at one point.
He did.
What about Harry Gant, the Skull Bandit? Can I get one
Look
of those
at
jackets?
you. You're impressing me there
All right,
with your deal. The next thing you'll know, you'll say a Dale Earnhardt Wrangler
You know what would be
jeans.
nice if you got the Skull Bandit jacket, you got Earl Campbell to sign it. Skull, brother.
That would be
Or
cool.
that you can go YouTube that, the Earl Campbell Skull ad.
I went to the Talladega 500 in 1984, won by Dale Earnhardt in the Wrangler car, and but Harry Gant was in the race, man. He was in it, and everybody was getting all excited about him.
Man, like Mark Martin driving the Folgers car.
Yeah, there you go. And of course, me, I was a long-suffering Richard Petty fan, even though he's the
long
king.
suffering, yeah.
Well, he won 200 races and all that, but I'm talking about down the stretch of his career where we were all hoping that his engine wouldn't blow.
That would be
6
like
laps
Cam
into
saying,
the race.
"Yeah, I'm a long-suffering Jeff Gordon fan." He was the drizzling.
Well, hey,
It was
towards
rough.
the very end, like Richard Petty just couldn't win as much as he used to in the beginning.
No. The last race was the Daytona 500. I think when President Reagan was there to start the race, and Petty won that one, I believe. I think it's the last time.
Yeah, remember
Anyway.
the episode of King of the Hill where NASCAR came to Arlen? Jeff Gordon had a wreck.
I do remember
And Hank
that.
was trying to get Bobby interested, and he's like, "Man, this rope sure is shiny and smooth." And then they're like, "Oh my gosh, it's the Intimidator! It's Dale Earnhardt." And they're
Dale
trying to ask him
Earnhardt.
about cars. He goes, "Wow, this rope sure is shiny and smooth."
Coming up is Inconceivable when we continue to light the tower on the Horn. 104.9, 101.9, AM 1260, live, local, and digital on the Horn app and at hornfm.com. Well, I think about this, like I said, every time we get some storms. And we had thunderstorms roll through the area. Fortunately, it doesn't look like too many people got hit with the hail damage the way they did up in the Super Centex Waco area. But if you do think you have some roof damage, of course, our friend John Hardy and his great staff at Divided Sky Roofing and Solar are great at helping you get the new roof. But they're also a full-service solar company. And as we get ready to transition into our hottest season, we know that's when the higher power bills start arriving. Why not be prepared and save money this summer with a new Timberline solar shingle roof? Or maybe you're a person who already has solar, got solar panels, whatever, but you don't have a backup battery. Well, then you would be wasting money. With a backup battery, you're able to use all of the power you make instead of giving it back to the power company. The batteries are now covered by the Inflation Reduction Act, so you get that tax credit, and don't we all need that? Well, John and his staff are solar experts. They can repair and service your existing solar system. Those other roofers you hear about are just basically selling you a solar roof. Divided Sky Roofing and Solar can repair and service your existing solar system. And they are master electricians, and they're all NABCET certified. That's the solar version of being a master plumber. Trust your roofing and solar needs to the experts. That's our friends at Divided Sky Roofing and Solar, 512-995-ROOF. Check them out on the web at dividedskyaustin.com. It's TEC license number 37397. When the wind blows high, and we know it will again, call our friends at Divided Sky Roofing and Solar. Okay, we've got a couple items. Going to get to that, but I'd like Jeff to tell that Mike Moustakas story as part of Inconsistent.
Yeah, and just I don't mean to offend anybody with this, but this is to me fourth hand now. Mike Moustakas grew up in Southern California.
Yeah.
His uncle was Tom Robson, who's a longtime hitting coach in Major League Baseball.
I knew him when he was with the Rangers.
So when he was with the Mets. They were in L.A. to play the Dodgers. So Mike Moustakas is going to be the bat boy for the Mets that day. Well, long story short, the Dodgers are kind of, I think it's like a make-a-wish deal they're doing. Their bat boy for the day is a young man with Down syndrome who's supposed to meet with Tommy Lasorda before the game. Well, Mike Moustakas somehow ends up in that meeting with Tommy Lasorda.
Oh, no.
And Lasorda's like, I'm proud of you, kid. You've overcome so much in your life. And Moustakas is like, well, I mean, yeah, I got grounded last week for not cleaning my room. I mean, it's been a little rough lately. And they're talking, and Moustakas' dad finally finds him, and he's like, what are you doing? And Lasorda's like, he's our bat boy, right? And Moustakas' dad's like, no, he's going to be the bat boy for the Mets. And Lasorda's just like turns red in the face. Is like, I thought he was the kid with Down syndrome. I'm so sorry. Like, here's young Mike Moustakas just completely clueless about why Tommy Lasorda is like just giving him this real life talk.
Maybe it inspired him to go on and become a major leaguer. I don't know.
3-time All-Star and a world champion.
We'll see. Now, that would explain how those two could have crossed paths.
Yeah.
With him as a kid. It would have had to have been that.
Yeah.
Okay. here's a couple of other things. Keep it kind of tethered to sports, at least momentarily. You know, Jim Boeheim, of course.
Oh, hey, Craig. Actually, Cam, can we get a breaking news sounder? Because this just came down.
Yeah.
Craig, you and I were talking about this earlier.
Yeah. So
Speaking of inconceivable.
Yeah. Let's do that.
Actually, Craig, I'll let you take it.
Well, we heard that this might come down here, and sure enough, it has come down. The baseball series with the TCU Horned Frogs, that is the one we're talking about, right?
Yes.
The baseball series with the Horned Frogs is not going to begin tomorrow night. It's going to begin on Saturday. They're going to play Saturday, Sunday, Monday. That is because they're expecting heavy rain in Fort Worth tomorrow. So they're going to push it back to Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Have they announced the start times?
It's going to be Saturday, 6 o'clock.
Yeah, because that's ESPNU.
And then Sunday and Monday will both be 1 o'clock with TV Monday to be determined.
Yeah.
I'm guessing that would probably be an ESPN Plus.
Yeah, like
likely.
that was going to be the case with the Sunday game anyway.
Yeah.
Because the Friday and Saturday games were going to be ESPNU.
Yeah, because Saturday will still be ESPNU, Sunday will be Plus, and then TV to be determined on Monday.
Okay.
But you can hear it all on the horn anyway.
Yep. We'll have it Saturday, Sunday, Monday. So again, the Texas TCU series does not begin tomorrow. It will begin on Saturday, Sunday, Monday. So there you go with that.
See, I was eyeing that. I was checking out the Twitter machine, and the minute it dropped, I could break in and let you take it.
Well,
look at me being on top of things.
I knew there was a chance of it happening and that there had been conversations, but that's all I knew. That there was I was told, keep your eyes and ears open.
And I was.
This could happen.
Got
sure
everything.
enough,
Got everything.
There
going
was. So So now it's official. The Texas TCU series will.
So if
be
you're planning
Saturday
on going to Fort Worth Friday,
don't.
I mean, you can go to Fort Worth Friday if you want.
Yeah. You can,
but don't plan on going over to.
Don't go to Lupton Stadium.
Yeah.
Don't do
that.
that.
No baseball going on.
No, you can go to get you some good barbecue or Joe T. Garcia's.
Whatever, many fine eating establishments.
Yeah, you can do that. Go to Sundance Square, hang out there, whatever. But won't be.
You get to call
no
some
baseball.
You get to call some matinee baseball during the week, Craig. How about that?
Yeah, it kind of almost give you that postseason feel.
Yeah,
when you have one of those deals. Anyway, that's official now. Kind of keeping it tethered to sports. Remember, Jim Boeheim, of course, is retired now, the Syracuse basketball coach. Remember when he had the deal with the car wreck, Boeheim, and it cost.
Was that the pedestrian fatality?
Yeah.
That was a few years ago, right?
Happened in 2019.
Oh, I thought it was longer ago than that, but yes, I remember.
Yeah. With the family of Jorge Jimenez, who died following a car crash involving Boeheim. He was the passenger in a vehicle, skidded on an icy highway, hit a guardrail. Boeheim attempted to avoid hitting the vehicle, but he struck him. He later died at the hospital. Boeheim was not charged with any crimes or found to be driving recklessly. However, Jimenez's family accused him of being negligent, reckless, and wanton in a lawsuit filed in 2020. They've reached a settlement. So terms of the settlement remain undisclosed. With the sides, quote, recognizing their mutual privacy interest and the desirability of avoiding publicity about their personal lives. Boeheim's attorney, John Pfeiffer, added, quote, the specific private resolution of the matter is of no public import. So anyway, it has now been settled, that lawsuit. And, of course, Jim Boeheim is now retired, the former. Here's something that I heard Aaron Hogan talking about this morning. I had it on my list as well. We've talked about cereal on this show, and you're not a big cereal guy as it goes, right?
And as I get older, I try to avoid cereal whenever possible.
Okay, what's the connection there? Trying to avoid
just
it?
Trying to be a little healthier. I mean,
you never heard of like granola and muesli,
but you still got milk.
All
and
that I hadn't heard of fat-free milk or low-fat milk.
A protein bar and a piece of fruit does just fine for my breakfast.
Okay, all right. You do realize that some of those protein bars are higher in caloric value and
correct, yeah,
sugars than some of the other ones. Okay, just want to make sure of that. Cam is a big cereal guy, right?
Honey bunches of oats, baby.
How would you feel about Kit Kat cereal?
No.
Where you can
Diabetes cereal? Yeah.
you're basically eating the Kit Kat bar for breakfast, They're in your cereal bowl.
Kind of like Reese's Puffs. Now, I did
Yeah.
love Reese's Puffs as a kid.
Yeah, they still have the Reese's Puffs. That's it's funny. The story said when Reese's Puffs first came on the scene in 1994, the brand's commercials had fun with the parental non-starter of eating candy for breakfast as a way to play up the novelty of putting Reese's in your cereal bowl. But nowadays, there's cereal in just about every food flavor: Dunkin' coffee, IHOP pancakes, drumstick ice cream cones. And of this month, that long list finally includes the classic candy bar, Kit Kat. General Mills has announced they say they will capture the taste and the texture of the candy bar's signature crispy wafers covered in milk chocolate in a spoonable format. The squares even resemble miniature Kit Kat bars, a little chocolatey coating and a crunchy line as well. So Kit Kat cereal coming to your grocer's shelves in the near future there.
Craig, we got another bit of breaking news on the Texas TCU baseball series.
All right.
We're now being told to hang tight because the information on the series may change. So
Okay, let me say this. First of all, you have me at a disadvantage because of my issue with Twitter these days.
Yeah.
Although, by the way, I just got an email from him saying you may be good to go again. I've got to do a couple of procedural things. Maybe I can get back on. However, my point is what you were originally reading was from the Texas baseball Twitter account, right?
not just the baseball Twitter account, we got a press release
There's a press release
in my email.
that says, here's the deal. It's Saturday, Sunday, Monday.
And now everybody's being told, hang tight. Maybe that may be official, it may not. So
Okay.
just
All right.
Inconceivable.
yeah.
That's why it belongs
It's
where it is.
very fit for this segment.
So there it is. You know what? I'm going to save these other ones for tomorrow because we think there will not be baseball tomorrow, which would mean I'd be here in studio to do the program tomorrow with Jeff, and then heading up to Fort Worth after that. So we think that'll be the case, but we'll see. And assuming that's the case, of course, tomorrow, Jeff, being Friday.
Actually, Cameron, what does Friday mean?
Got to go ahead and reach for that low-hanging fruit, boys.
Flaccidity. We go to the most flaccid state in the lower 48 to grab that low-hanging fruit.
And that appears that the three of us will be sitting here flaccidly giving you the Florida man stories tomorrow. Yeah, we'll see. All right. We have a second hour of the program coming up here. So you can stay with us. Also, again, taking your submissions on the Specs text line, 337-3776. This being NFL Draft Day, what NFL, it doesn't have to be NFL, what jersey do you own that no longer really, is current or fits with that? Like here's somebody has a Brett Favre jersey. But David Robinson, Mike Modano, although Modano finished his career with the Red Wings, I believe, but, you can still doing that. Karen told us that. She has a Colt jersey from Texas. That's always in vogue. Second hour coming up on Light the Tower on the Horn. Second hour of Light the Tower on the Horn. Craig and Jeff with you. Cam alongside. NFL Draft Day. And you have NFL Draft coverage tonight. We've got guys just scattered all over the place here at Pluckers. So at, 7 different... Are you at one of those tonight, Cam?
I'm not. It appears our show actually has the night off.
Well, originally, the plan was I was going to be traveling up today and going up to Fort Worth, and may still be, depending on what happens, because if you joined us late and kind of heard it partially, we are first received word that the Texas TCU baseball series had been shifted from tomorrow, Saturday, Sunday to Saturday, Sunday, Monday, because they are expecting some pretty heavy rain in Fort Worth tomorrow afternoon into tomorrow evening, which would kind of compromise it. So first, there was an actual press release on it, and what was it, Cam? TCU tweeted it out on their baseball site, I think?
Yeah, so the TCU, their tweet came first. And then we got the same press release, and then got another press release. Well, actually, CB pointed on the specs text on the tweets have been deleted, but that doesn't always indicate, what correctly happened. But then we got the other press release saying, please hold this information. So I guess we're in a holding pattern right now, waiting to decide what times the games will be on Saturday, Sunday, and Monday.
Okay, maybe that's the thing that's up in the air, but it would appear that the games will be shifted to Saturday, Sunday, Monday, regardless of it. But again, It's not official yet. So we'll find out, perhaps before we leave air. So we'll see. Specs text line cleanup from hour number 1. Somebody said, Craig, I dare you do the entire show with that voice. Which voice?
NFL Films voice.
Oh, the John Facenda one. Yeah, the late John Facenda. He used to get letters sent to him at the NFL Films office in Mount Laurel, New Jersey, that said, "Voice of God." That's what they sent him. Super Bowl IV belonged to the Kansas City Chiefs. He
what I just realized?
That stuff.
Checking out, we're watching all kinds of draft coverage here in the studio. I just saw Todd McShay's final mock draft.
Okay.
Either his is going to be incredibly stupid or incredibly accurate, because his looks nothing like anybody else's.
His usually doesn't.
Yeah.
And with him, a lot of times it's a lot of dartboard stuff for him on. And some things he hits. But he might not hit the top 3 or 4, but he'll hit some odd pick that somebody's picking at number 9 or 11 or 13 or something like that. And everybody else goes, wow, didn't expect that. Well, Todd McShay did. But he misfired on the first 4. That kind of thing. And that's, it's a roulette.
It is
with that.
It is, but McShay's is the only mock that I have not seen Bijan going to either Atlanta or Philly. Everything I've seen in the last 24 hours has Bijan either going to Atlanta or Philly.
McShay has Bijan going to the Chargers at 21, but it seems like all the talk has either Atlanta or Philadelphia in some form or fashion, either trading down a little bit in the late teens.
It's like McShay had Philly taking Nolan Smith from Georgia. And I'm like, is Nolan Smith even – I haven't seen him mocked that high by anybody. So, I don't know, man. Like I said, either McShay's going to be a genius or an idiot by the end of the night. So,
yeah. But that's kind of how it goes with the NFL draft,
Yeah, pretty much.
It kind of – and toward that end, it gets me into my Brad Sham story. And just before I do that, I just – again, the cleanup from hour number 1 is a jersey that you really don't, wear anymore for obviously. There's somebody with a collection of cowboy hats, said from when I was a kid. Jersey top jorts and Crocs with socks. Yeah, sure. Someone with a Fernando Valenzuela jersey and a Manny Mota jersey back in the day. But those are great Dodgers. And even though Fernando ended up pitching elsewhere, and Mota was with the Pirates, I think, before the Dodgers and then with the Dodgers, but that's okay. Here's somebody at a Spurs jersey, Vinny Del Negro. That's one you need there, Jeff. If not Tim Duncan, Vinny Del Negro. Good. Here's an OG Yao Ming jersey, Arian Foster, Clyde Drexler. That's someone Houston-based. An old Dallas Stars sweater growing up. Here's somebody with a Don Meredith jersey. People ask me, who's that? Or is your wife's name Meredith? On the back of the jersey. Is your wife's name Meredith? I bought a Texas Tech baseball jersey and sewed Mahomes and the number 5 on it. A Dennis Rodman Spurs jersey, Ricky Williams Saints jersey, D'Amico Ryans jersey from playing with the Texans, Vinny Testaverde Jets jersey.
I might have to find that Vinny Testaverde Jets song, man.
Yeah. Anyway, like Captain Caveman said, the Ice Bat jerseys were fire because you were talking about those earlier. And then somebody said, I donated all my jerseys after the late Sean Adams said no man over 30 should wear another man's name on their back. Where I would have differed with the late, great Sean Adams is if it was a Hall of Fame or a Classic player paying tribute to it.
See, somebody mentioned a Patriots fan might still have an Aaron Hernandez jersey. Mm-hmm. Probably, but I know the Patriots did a big deal where a
buyback. They did a buyback. They wanted all of them back.
Yeah, you can go turn in your Aaron Hernandez jersey and get you like a free Tom Brady.
Yeah, you could do that.
Lawrence Maroney or whoever was the Patriots at that point. I don't know.
Yeah. Somebody said, I'd wear my throwback 1996 Johnston High School jersey. I wear it all the time back when we lost to Drew Brees 84-0.
See, I have my high school jersey, but that thing is not going to be worn. That thing is...
Yeah, I keep telling you to bring it in.
I'm not going to bring it in, Craig.
Why?
Because it doesn't fit anymore. It barely fit back then.
Okay. All right. Okay.
That thing, this was before.
I mean, you don't have to put it on.
You just want to see it?
Yeah. You don't have to
I
wear
thought
it.
I brought it in for you to see it. Did I not? Or did I just take a picture of it?
You took a picture of it.
All right. I'll bring it in one of these days.
Yeah, you have to do that.
Just remind me.
Yeah. Hey, somebody says if you were going to Fort Worth earlier, there's a Poncho's Mexican buffet still in operation there. In
Damn
Fort
straight
Worth.
there
you
is.
Hit that one there.
Raise that flag.
Yeah. Very first jersey, Eddie George, Tennessee Titans. Yeah. Dear Kit Kat, welcome to the cereal club. Love Little Debbie. Yeah, the Little Debbie cereal. Bruce Jenner jersey. So,
dude, see, like McShay's mock. Oh my gosh, can we talk about this for a second?
Yeah.
Like he's got the Texans taking Tyree Wilson at 2.
Yeah.
There's been rumblings that some people in the Texans organization have Tyree over Will Anderson. That's been a real thing this week, Jeff.
Man, I thought Tyree Wilson was really good. Like when I was talking to some of my colleagues with the Football Writers Association, they were putting together All-American teams, and they're like, well, let's talk about defensive linemen. And I was like, man, the best defensive lineman I saw all year was Tyree Wilson. Like when Texas went and played in Lubbock, I just thought he made more plays. Like Will Anderson made a couple of plays late, but Kelvin Banks did a hell of a job on Will Anderson. And Felix Anudike-Uzomah didn't do much in that K-State game. But I thought Tyree Wilson did a heck of a job. But, man, number 2 pick in the draft, I did not think he was going to go that high.
Here's a couple other things before we get to the story that I had. Somebody asked, somebody said I have a purple and white Florence Buffalo number 2 high school jersey. How about that?
Nice.
There's a good one there. And then somebody said, how much can I get for my Ron McKelvey jersey? Wow, I would hold on to that. The roster imposter jersey. And then finally, it's a better rule is...
I hope that means a numerical number 2 and you're not talking about the bad bathroom.
Oh, good point. Okay. Well, they didn't say it was Purple Buffalo's daddy. It was another guy who did that.
Well.
And then it says, somebody said, a better rule is a man can't wear a player's name on his back if said player is younger than the man. No shame for this 46-year-old man wearing a Nolan Ryan jersey. Okay. I get where you're coming from, but that would preclude somebody wearing a LeBron jersey if they wanted to. Unless
LeBron and I are the same age.
Okay. Right.
Hey, do you guys remember what Ty Henderson's bet is? This is Will Levis has to go in the top 2 picks tonight, and he'll do the coffee mayonnaise bit tomorrow.
Yeah, it's a pledge to where he'll take a bite out of the banana peel and all, and then have coffee with mayonnaise in it. Yeah, there's something like that. So there's somebody with the Ray Carew jersey on again. You got that there.
It's bad business, man.
Yeah.
Can you get an O.J. Simpson throwback jersey? Can you get one of those?
Yeah, that's a good point. So all right,
that Bills Mafia is an interesting crowd.
Yeah, it is. So here it is, NFL Draft Day, and the further I get away from what we used to do on the radio at the draft when I was in Dallas, the more unlikely it seems, strange. But what we used to do with the NFL draft, and this is, when obviously I was working at KRLD, and I had Chuck Cooperstein, who's the voice of the Mavericks now, we were on staff together. Dave Voloshin, who has been a longtime voice of the Memphis Tigers, in fact, left KRLD to go back to Memphis, where he'd been before, to become the play-by-play voice of the Tigers. Wolo was on that staff. Brian Briscoe, who had worked in sports radio for years and years and years and works in public relations up in Denton, is there.
Was Norm Hitzkiss ever a patriot of KRLD? Or
no?
Okay.
He was always KLIF and then the ticket.
Gotcha.
Okay. But Norm, Norm used to go to the NFL draft every year, and Brad Sham used to go to the NFL draft every year.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what was really unique, like I said, the further I get away from this, the more outside the box this comes to me. When Brad used to go to the NFL draft, and this is like starting in the mid-'70s, well into the 80s, Brad not only went to the draft, and they would have it set up there at the Marriott Marquis, Madison Square Garden. Not Madison Square, Marriott Marquis near Madison Square Garden.
I love those old draft films, like the Elway to Marino 30 for 30. It's just like everything's set up on tables. You got dudes burning heaters. And
that's right.
The big helmet phones are there. Yeah.
That's right. Brad was right in the mix. And I actually did it 1 year after Brad had left. I went in 94, I think it was.
Ooh.
94.
You got the Shante Carver draft.
It's funny you bring that.
Bad.
It's funny you bring that
business,
up.
Man.
Funny you bring that up. I'm about to get to a text here in a few minutes. But I did go. I did 1 year and got to experience. And then Norm was sitting right next to me. And they would have, like, for radio stations that went. And this was before the true advent of sports radio. So it was just a sports talk show here and there. So they could accommodate it. Mm-hmm. And they kind of put you up on the high up near the top of the room.
Did Norm have his big board with him?
He didn't there because he didn't have room. Didn't have room for the big board. So he would be there, and then I would and then I had my area, my space. But again, for years it was Brad. It was his deal. Not only was Brad Sham there on it, his co-host of the draft coverage from like the 70s well into the 80s was Tex Schramm. Now, think about that. Yeah, I know. How crazy does that sound? Think about this. You have the president and general manager of the Dallas Cowboys in their heyday.
The guy making the calls on who are we taking with this pick?
Well, he wasn't really making the call per se.
Okay.
Gil Brandt was making a lot of the call, okay. But Tex was always in the consultation.
Gotcha. Okay.
But Tex would be on with Brad as a co-host, as an analyst. And so Brad would say, now let's go to we're going to go to the podium. They would talk about, Tex, who do you think here with the Falcons? Well, the Falcons need a defensive back, so they'll go with a defensive back here. So like he knew what the other teams were going to do.
That's crazy. There's an active front office guy breaking down everybody else.
How about that? Being on live at the time. That's why I said the further I get away from this. So Pete Rozelle would step to the mic and say, and Pete Rozelle would step to the mic and say, with the 9th pick in the 1985 National Football League draft, the Atlanta Falcons select, and more often than not, it would be who Tex would say, or at least have the position right.
Yeah.
So we get to 1986. So here's 1986. And Brad's doing it, and they get to the 11th pick, and the Rams have the 11th pick in the draft. So Brad says, at least I think it's the 11th pick. And I may be getting it wrong.
By the way, you remember who the number one overall pick was in the 86 draft?
No.
The Tampa Bay Buccaneers selected Bo Jackson, who never played for the Bucs.
How about that? And I read a story about that, about how Hugh Culverhouse messed that whole deal up there.
Cost him his baseball eligibility his last season at Auburn. Yep.
Let me ask you this. Did the Rams have the 11th pick that year in 86?
Bengals had the 11th pick.
Okay,
the Rams. I'm trying to find it. We're 23rd.
Okay, I don't know that was, but let me ask you this. Just give me the first name of the guy they picked at 23.
Mike.
Yep. Okay, here we go. It's the 23rd pick, not the 11th pick.
Okay.
Offensive lineman, right?
Yes.
Yep. Okay, here we go. So they get to 23, and that would make sense, by the way. The Rams had reached the NFC Championship game the year before, including eliminating the Cowboys when Eric Dickerson ran for like 240 or something. And then the Rams lost to that incredible Bears team, got shut out when they had Dieter Brock at quarterback. And they lost to the Bears, who went on, of course, and completed their Super Bowl shuffle and won the Super Bowl. So now you get to the 86 NFL draft, and they're rolling through the names. And Tex is on a roll. He's nailing it. Well, the Patriots, they need this, and blah, blah, blah. And they would go on and go for it. So then they get to number 23. And Brad says, Tex, what do you think the Rams are going to do here? Well, the Rams need a linebacker, and they need some defensive help. So they'll probably go with that. It's okay. Here's the pick. Pete Rozelle steps to the mic and says, with the 23rd pick in the 1986 National Football League draft, the Los Angeles Rams select Mike Shad, offensive lineman, University of Western Ontario in Canada. And there's this silence for a minute, and then Tex says on live radio, well, I'll be God. And he finishes it. He finishes the whole GD word on live radio.
That is awesome.
Well, I'll be God. Blah, blah, blah. And Brad had an even better response. He says, surprised, Texas? That was the line. Surprised, Texas? So Mike Shad, who wound up playing for a few years in the league, very little for the Rams, and I think mainly with the Eagles later. That was the deal. Mike Shad. So this morning, on our little group text that I talked about, Brian Briscoe, he had it right. He said, with the 23rd pick in the 1986 NFL Draft, the Los Angeles Rams select Mike Shad, offensive lineman, Queen's University, Canada. And then Brad texts with the words, well, I'll be, and then he just goes ... And then Chuck Cooperstein says the single greatest draft coverage moment. Surprised, Texas? Because his full name was
awesome.
Texas E. Schramm, was Tex Schramm's name. And then I said, as a Rams fan, I'm still waiting for the return on investment. And Brad goes, yeah, let that one go, Shante Carver.
Man, there were some bad Cowboys drafts in there.
But just
Jimmy.
think about that. Here's the president and general manager of the NFL team.
That would be like if we covered the MLB draft,
yeah,
and just had Gene Watson in here going pick by pick.
Yes, yeah. And here's the president and general manager of the team. But that explains also the relationship that he and Tom Landry and Gil Brandt and all those Cowboy people had with Brad back then, and the trust they had in the things he used to do. Remember, Tex used to do his own show. People think Jerry was one of the pioneers on that kind of. Tex did a show starting back in the 70s with the late Frank Gleber called Ask Tex Schramm. It was on Monday night. Now, by the time I got in the 80s, we started calling it Aztec Schramm, the program about everybody's favorite South American Indian, Aztec Schramm. It's Ask Tex Schramm, and he would be on every Monday night. When Frank Gleber did the show over at the old Cowboys headquarters on North Central Expressway before Valley Ranch ever was a dream, that there was a broadcast line set up in Tex's office, and Frank would do the show there, and the story was you could hear the Scotch glasses clinking in the background,
It's great.
So, yeah.
By the way, the Cowboys' first-round pick that year in 86, they had the 18th pick.
Wasn't that Mike Sherrard?
That was Mike Sherrard.
I remember that draft so well. Mike Sherrard. So that's the Tex Schramm story. But and even as incredulous as he was to say, well, I'll be God. And, I mean, he said it like that. He just barreled it out. We all looked at each other in the newsroom, and you just hear Brad on without hesitating, surprised, Texas? And so then, that's as incredulous as that is to hear him say that on the air. Mm-hmm. And we were not in a delay, so there was no dump button hitting. I mean, we had it for the talk show, but we weren't. That was in the middle of the day.
By the way, I know we got to hit the break, but that 86 draft has produced one Hall of Famer. Craig, do you know who the one Hall of Famer from the 86 draft is?
No, I do not.
Charles Haley.
Oh, wow. Okay. All right.
4th round pick, number 96.
And
overall.
a future Cowboy. So there you go.
The elephant position for the 49ers.
Yeah, he did.
Jeff, Peter Schrager just dropped his latest mock draft. Bijan Robinson, 23 to the Vikings.
I don't think he's last. I'll tell you this. If he goes past Philly at 10 and there's not a trade back, then somebody's trading up in the mid-teens to get him. I don't think he's going that far down.
What did you say? Somebody else was interested at 16?
I think Detroit at 18.
Yeah. I can't see him going there, but who knows? Peter Schrager knows quite a bit as well. All right, we'll continue. Up next, we have a Flex 30 update, and maybe we'll have more on this Longhorn baseball series with TCU. Maybe not. It was announced that it was going to be Saturday, Sunday, Monday, shifted. And so then we said it after the official release went out, and then it was like, no, hold on. As Jackie Gleason, as Sheriff Buford T. Justice said at the start of Smokey and the Bandit, hold off on that car wash, gentlemen. We'll continue here with Light the Tower on the Horn. Hey, as we continue to roll through this day, and here we are in late April, you heard me mention this on back when we were talking about the business of starting New Year's resolutions. Those are long gone, obviously. But that doesn't mean you can't have a resolution to make yourself healthier. And one of the areas where you can do that, start off by just getting the physical. And our friends at Total Men's Primary Care can help you with that. You can set up a physical, go online to totalmens.com. You'll see that big yellow button that says book an appointment. You click on that, and then you're able to set up that appointment and, in many cases, be seen that very same day at any of their 20-plus Austin area locations. And if there's other issues that you want to check in, a low T issue, or maybe there's a weight loss issue that you want to have some consultation about, they have the people who can do that. Check it out online at totalmens.com. It's Total Men's Primary Care, the doctor's office just for men. This is my favorite NFL films. Ramblin' Man from Grambling. Again, it's the Sam Spence stuff.
I love the ESPN NFL music, like for prime time.
Yeah, that's good too.
I love, that's one of the reasons I love ESPN. Like it pays for itself during baseball season, ESPN Plus does. But during the football season, I love watching prime time.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah, a lot of those tunes have become really regular. I like, anyway. So that's Ramblin' Man from Grambling. All right. Before we get to our next hour-long notebook, let's get to our Flex 30 update.
Flex ATX for the best high school sports coverage. Listen to the Horn and go to FLXATX.com. Flex 30 is brought to you by Brain Vault. Brain Vault is a revolutionary and patented mouthguard that has been proven to help reduce the risk of concussion. Visit BrainVault.com and join the movement.
Okay, we're assuming that Cameron Parker has now completely dried off and dried out after being over at Vista Ridge on Tuesday night for that baseball game, where young Mr. Sikora once again was on the beam, and he was really good. He's right on it. So they ran the table. They're unbeaten in district play.
14-0.
Yeah. And did they get their non-district game set up for tomorrow?
So they're not going to play. They're
not going to
have the weekend off. They're going to settle for some inter-squad scrimmages to stay competitive, but they'll get ready. And Coach Carter, and I'm guessing like most other coaches who don't have a game this or Friday night, will be out scouting, and he'll be paying keenly attention to 26-6A.
That's where I was going next. What about the uber competitive 26-6A?
So games tonight and tomorrow: Lake Travis, Bowie, Buda Johnson, Westlake, all trying to jockey for playoff positioning because they'll be matched up against the 25-6A. So Round Rock will play whoever's in fourth place, which looks like right now Buda Johnson. Maybe they can pull off an upset today or tomorrow. Then Lake Travis and Bowie trying to fight for that second spot. But theoretically, if Westlake loses both games, and one of those two could jump up, maybe even a tiebreaker game would still have to happen. I know Westwood and Vandergrift, they are playing a third-place tiebreaker game tomorrow to decide who takes the second spot in 25-6A.
Okay. All right. Meanwhile, softball playoffs.
Yeah.
Getting underway. 6A. You got a one-gamer tomorrow night, Round Rock and Del Valle playing in Round Rock. Cedar Ridge and Bowie, a one-gamer tomorrow night. They're playing that one in Manor. Vista Ridge is playing Buda Johnson in a one-gamer at Lake Travis tomorrow night. Stony and Drip are playing a best-of-3.
Yeah.
And they'll start 6 o'clock tomorrow. Again, weather permitting, because it kind of looks a little threatening for tomorrow. 6 o'clock tomorrow, 11 a.m. And that game at Drip. 11 o'clock Saturday morning at Stony. Game 3 would follow if necessary. You have a one-game playoff in 5A between Georgetown and, how about, Eastside Early College. Get there. And they're playing at Hendrickson tomorrow night. Leander is playing New Braunfels Canyon. That's a best-of-3. They play tonight in Leander, tomorrow at Canyon. Both those games are 6 o'clock games. If they have to go to a third game, it'll be at Dripping Springs as a neutral site on Saturday at 1 o'clock. Liberty Hill and San Antonio Vets Memorial, 6 o'clock this evening in Liberty Hill. Game 1, Game 2 tomorrow at Vets at 6. 2 o'clock Saturday, they'll play it in Wimberley if it goes to that. Glen and Smithson Valley, 7 o'clock tomorrow night at Glen, noon Saturday at Smithson, and Game 3 would follow right there at Smithson if they need it. Crockett and either Pflugerville or Elgin. I think we'll have to see who they're playing on that. Same thing with McCallum against Pflugerville or Elgin on that. And Lhasa is going to play Eastview in a one game at Nowak tomorrow, and Hazen Seguin TBA. So there it is. There's your softball playoff schedule, and that is your Flex 30 update. Time now for the second hour, Longhorn Notebook.
Jeff Howe's Longhorn Notebook.
Quick update looking ahead to the fall. Alabama's added another quarterback to their roster in case anybody hasn't heard it. Tyler Buckner, the Notre Dame quarterback, entered the portal shortly after their spring game. He's headed to Tuscaloosa. His former offensive coordinator, Tommy Reese, is now the OC of Bama. So that's Ty Simpson, Jalen Milroe, and Tyler Buckner all at quarterback for Bama. I got a feeling, Craig, it might go up to their first week of the regular season. Isn't it so nice to think ahead and not have to deal with that this year? Like, we really didn't have to deal with it last year because Sark had that impromptu announcement a couple of weeks before the start of the season that Quinn was going to be the guy. But it's going to be nice to go. And maybe that's why it's been a pretty ho-hum, even if you want to call it boring offseason so far for Texas. I know, knock on wood, because the minute you say that, something will happen. And camp, I'm outside of the unexpected. I think
306.
What's that?
What, Cam?
Sorry, I'm talking to myself over here trying to figure out.
It's like, what
My
about
mic was still
306?
on.
What about-
yeah, your
what is
mic was very
306?
much on.
Yeah. Well, what's 306?
What's 306?
That's the time that we had between our last break and the start of the hour. So
Okay.
Okay.
Anyway,
for those interested in how the production standard works.
thank you for helping me keep the clock there, Cam. Yeah, it's going to be kind of nice to go through a camp without having to worry about quarterback competitions and controversies and what have you. Quick basketball update. I do know that the Texas staff was in home with Kendall Weaver, the UTA transfer, last night. Don't be surprised if you hear something about Texas making a visit to see Max Asmus. Also, nothing new on either one of those guys. And Craig, before we talk about Bijan in the draft, real quick, did David Pierce ever tell us a day Tanner Witt was supposed to go this weekend, or was it just scheduled that he was going to go this weekend?
It was going to be game 3.
Okay.
So it could be, but and for folks who said, wait a minute, and on Saturday was standing there talking to Coach Pierce, and Kirk Bowles walks up, and so he was he asked a couple of questions, and when he did, one of the things was about Tanner Witt, and Kirk asked him, wouldn't he be better served maybe as a closer for you? And Kirk alluded to that in his 9 Things and Crazy Prediction column yesterday. But what Coach Pierce said to him was, whether he does or not, ultimately, the way they have to start him out is from a designated know when he's going to pitch situation, not a bullpen thing.
Right.
So even though he may only throw somewhere between 20 and 30 pitches, he probably is going to be a starter and would probably start game 3 of the series, which was originally scheduled for Sunday. Then we were told it's gone to Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Now we're told hold off on that. We'll find out. I have a feeling that probably the series is going to be shifted to Saturday, Sunday, Monday, but it will. They're still, I think, trying to work on the times on that. So.
And to your point, that's the about why it would make sense for him to do that. It's all about the mechanics of warming up. As he's in this recovery from Tommy John surgery, you want him, hey, here's your warm-up schedule, and this is, when you're going to pitch, and then we'll get you your 20, 30 pitches, however long that lasts, and then boom, you're out of there.
Yeah.
So you don't want him up and then warming up, and then, now we don't need a bullpen guy, but, hey, get up again and start throwing. So you don't want to mess with the rehab schedule. All right, let's talk about the draft.
Yeah.
Bijan, whenever he's taken tonight, again, multiple mock drafts, I've seen him go 8 to Atlanta, 10 to Philly, both of those teams trading back.
Right.
We've seen him slotted somewhere in the teens. Where'd you say the Peter Schrager mock had him going 23 to the Vikings?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, I think he's gone before then. Bottom line, Cowboys fans, I don't think you're going to have to worry about the Bijan situation coming up tonight, unless they trade up, which then that's a whole another can of worms to open up. But whenever he's taken, he's going to set some firsts and break some streaks here. Texas hasn't had a first-round pick since Malcolm Brown in 2015. That streak will end tonight. Hasn't had an offensive player drafted since Vince Young in 2006. That streak will end tonight. The first non-quarterback to go in the first round since Cedric Benson in 2005. That streak will end tonight. And Matt Butler and I had to look this up because I thought about it. I'm like, surely I can't be right. But I was. My hunch was right. He's going to be the first Big 12 running back taken in the first round since Adrian Peterson in 2007.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
it's going to be a really big night. And, you look at what Bijan did for Texas while he was a player and everything he meant to this program off the field. He's got a chance to really be kind of for Sark what Ricky Williams in a lot of ways was for Mac Brown, just in terms of a guy that his rise to being one of the best players in college football, to being a first-round pick, to being hopefully having early success in the NFL, that this is one of those things that helps you generate momentum to you getting to a point where everybody listening to this right now, unless you're a Texas Tech or an A&M fan or whatever, hopes Texas is, or at least expects Texas to be, which is in the national conversation each and every season. Hopefully Bijan helps you get to that level. And Craig, I think it speaks to the fact that guys are starting to get developed. We're starting to see the player development part of this. I'm not going to say get there, but it's trending in the right direction.
Right.
And you look at the talent level in the program, and I think anybody that watched the spring game will agree with me. The body types look different, the speed, the physicality. It's all starting to look like what you would expect the Texas roster to look. That very, very few times in the last 10 or so years has a Texas roster looked like this one. But then you think about all these guys are young, and if the player development piece is there, I haven't felt this good about this thing getting ready to take off, but I think Bijan getting drafted, think about it. We're sitting here last year going through the draft, knowing going into the draft, you're probably not going to have anybody take it. Maybe Cameron Dicker or Josh Thompson taken late. But a credit to that draft class, though. Josh Thompson stuck around on a roster with the Titans. Cameron Dicker was an NFC offensive player or NFC special teams player of the week with the Eagles,
right?
Then gets cut and then ends up the rest of the season with the Chargers. So props to Cameron Dicker. That's
There's
just
a couple of walk-offs with San Diego.
Yeah,
with LA.
That's just
the Chargers.
Life of a kicker in the National Football League. Brendan Schooler sticks with the Patriots the whole year. So not a bad year. There's been years where the draft hasn't been that fruitful to Texas in terms of the undrafted free agents that get a shot and stick with teams. So, but it's a much different conversation you're having this year with guys that spent the bulk of their Texas careers playing for Steve Sarkisian that are going to have a chance to get drafted this year. That's a really good thing to see. And it's not just going to be Bijan. We'll talk about it, tomorrow. It's going to be tomorrow. Are we talking about where's DeMarvion Overshown going to go? Where does Roshan Johnson go? Because at this point, it looks like he's going to go in day 2. And then you get to the weekend, and then it's Ojimo Coburn. They're probably going to go somewhere on Saturday in that 4th to 7 round range. I don't know where, but it could be a really good weekend for the football program. A stark contrast to where we were at this time last year covering this thing. And hopefully this is the start of more fruitful drafts like the draft was when Mac really had it rolling and you just came to expect, you're going to have multiple guys throughout the draft hear their names called.
Somebody you said Malcolm Brown was a first rounder.
He was.
I think he's thinking about a different Malcolm Brown.
Defensive tackle Malcolm Brown.
Not Malcolm Brown, the running back. Not at Mallycat28. The way you spell it, the texter is the running back.
Malcolm with one L.
Malcolm with one L. So that's where that is. All right, we'll be back to wrap up today's edition of Light the Tower on the Horn.
I don't know where everybody listening to this right now is planning on watching the NFL draft, but I am planning on watching it from the comfort of my own home on my home entertainment center that was put together by Tom McKay and the folks at Audio Visual Consultations. You can get that same setup like I've got, or you can get the setup you've always wanted. Just call right now, 512-255-8678. That's 255-8678. I wasn't happy with my setup at my previous residence. And when I made the move to San Marcos, one of the first things I did was get in touch with Tom McKay. He came out to the house and put together a project that not only made sense for the budget I had in mind, but it made sense for the amount of space that I have in my house. And now I thought the 75-inch LG TV, it was going to be too big. It was going to be too cumbersome on that wall, but it fits perfectly. And I'm hearing everything in crystal clear sound on that Sonos sound system. How good is the Sonos sound system? I was telling Craig the other day, my wife was watching a movie and I was in my office working and she didn't have the TV volume up that loud and I had stuff on the office walls rattling. That's how good and deep that sound system is. So whatever your needs are, big or small, just call Tom McKay and AV Consultations. Let them handle it. They'll do a nice, clean, professional job and have it looking top-notch because AV Consultations does top-notch work. If you want that same setup like I've got, they've got the latest smart TVs and Sonos audio in stock. If they don't have it, it's not going to take them long to get it. Maybe you need something smaller. You don't have that much space. That's fine too. Or if you want to watch your movie, sports, and TV on the full tilt home theater experience, get you a 150-inch screen, they can make that happen for you as well. Whatever your needs are, don't delay. Just call right now and get the ball rolling. 512-255-8678. That's 255-8678. Make that call right now and let Tom McKay and Audio Visual Consultations help you realize the home entertainment setup of your dreams.
Okay, we're done for today, and we'll hope you enjoy your draft night. Maybe you can enjoy it out at Pluckers with any of the guys out there at locations from north all the way to south.
Hey, in the Pluckers setups, Tom McCain AV Consultations did those as well. So
Consider
it's going to
that.
be quality.
Absolutely.
And get you some of them wings.
We'll have more on what this Texas baseball series is all about in terms of its playing and the, if it is indeed pushed back Saturday, Sunday, Monday, which was originally announced. Then they were like, hold on, wait. So we'll see on that. So stay tuned throughout the course of the afternoon. For now, I'm planning to be here in studio tomorrow. We'll see how that plays out.
Like that baseball series, we're TBD on our lineup tomorrow.
There you go. Aren't we all every day? Stay tuned. Chad and Zay are up next. For our man behind the glass, our producer Cameron Parker, and for my co-host Jeff Howe, I'm Craig Way. Thanks for joining us. We'll visit with you tomorrow right here on Light the Tower.